Okay, let's talk about Resident Evil 7 for a second, because after E3, on my way home, after seeing all these exciting things, the thing that was on my mind the most, and the thing I wanted to talk about most, was Resident Evil, because Resident Evil is a big deal for me. Stop me if you've heard that before, but growing up in middle school, in my middle school locker, I didn't have pictures of athletes or swimsuit models. I had pictures of Albert Wesker, Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, and Solid Snake, so that's about where I'm at. So Resident Evil 7 comes at an interesting time. The series has been in hiatus for a while. The brand is pretty damn tarnished, if you ask me. I was not a big fan of Resident Evil 6 at all. I understand, I like the embracing of the action and the goofy shit, but the game itself just was not doing it for me. So here comes Resident Evil 7, which seems to be a complete shift, a new start for the franchise, which is fine. I think they've made a lot of really weird decisions, and we haven't seen enough yet, but I still have so much to say. Okay, first of all, the fact that it's a first-person game is okay, that's fine. I get it. Like, they're trying a new thing. They're trying to spearhead a new horror thing, because Resident Evil started the survival horror, the fascination with that. So it only makes sense for Resident Evil to spearhead a new thing. So launching on the PlayStation VR, cool. Awesome. The first real good, damn good horror VR experience. Let's try it. But what I feel really weird about is once the developers start talking about things, that's where things start to go south for me, okay? First of all, this takes place in the Resident Evil universe. It takes place after the events of Resident Evil 6. Despite that, though, the developers have been very quiet about who you get to play as and what kind of characters we'll see, but what I did hear at E3 is that you get to play as a regular everyman guy. They wanted to really get you to feel scared by just being an average person. They said specifically, you're not going to be a super cop like Jill or Chris. Okay, I mean, that's what I go to Resident Evil for. Like, yes, horror is the thing. It's terrifying. But after Resident Evil 1, after things picked up, people love that lore. People love all the wacky shit, the Umbrella stuff, the weird Wesker monsters. Code Veronica is one of my favorite Resident Evil games, and it is by far one of the most out there. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have played that demo. They released that demo at E3 saying, hey, here you go, there's a free demo now you can play. It's a playable teaser. Which is very indicative and probably borderline capitalizing on PT, Silent Hills, you know, that whole thing. So it's basically that in a way. Now, what they have said is that this isn't going to actually be in the game. This is a slice of what the game is going to feel like, a setup, but it is not the game itself, which, thank fucking God, because I gotta say, and I don't really complain or not like it, but I was so underwhelmed with that little playable demo. Okay, I will say, I did play it at E3 on PlayStation VR. It's much scarier. It's implemented very well. Graphically, it looks nice. The atmosphere is there. The sound is there. The graphics are there. It's creepy, but it's also fuck all generic. If you have a PC, or if you've been playing any type of indie PC horror games, if you've been playing Outlast, you've been playing Amnesia, this is like a freaking walk in the park. Everything here is completely phoned in. It all feels cynical. It all feels like it's totally capitalizing on PT, on Outlast, on all these types of games, and that just really upset me. Now, I'm trying to think of this in different ways, because Resident Evil 7 has been being worked on for a very long time. So I'm almost thinking that maybe it's just this teaser trailer. Maybe they made it specifically cater to fans of PT to cynically catch on to that hype, to get people excited for Resident Evil 7, which might be actually different because they have been working on it for so long. It doesn't make sense for them to just make the game for a while and then all of a sudden see PT and stop and make it just like that, right? Am I putting a lot of words in their mouths? I don't know. I just really fucking like Resident Evil. So that's the thing, because the playable demo is just kind of a big shrug. It's not awful, it's just there. And I know a lot of you guys out there have played stuff like it before. Maybe you haven't, but I think a lot of people who play games have. And it also begs the question, you know, with this game being a completely different direction, seemingly totally different, but they say, oh, but it's in the Resident Evil universe. It takes place after the last game. Like, fuck you. Why does it have to? Are you just doing that just to hold on to the lore that you spent all that money on and you're still making money off of? I'd almost rather them completely wipe the slate clean and start over. Just go all in. That being said, behind everything, I do still feel excitement for this series, because they are at the point where they are going to try something hopefully really new and push a new type of horror thing with that big important Resident Evil name. Did they see Silent Hills PT and go, oh, this is the new type of brand of horror we need to promote? I hope not. I hope it's not born out of cynicism. I was really hoping by the end of that demo a fucking helicopter would fly by and Albert Wesker would just drop in through the ceiling. Of course, he's dead, so that doesn't make any sense. But I just want that weird Japanese stuff that makes Resident Evil special, you know? And since I am such like a VR fanboy, I am excited that they are doing this with VR because it felt good in VR. It controlled well. It felt good. The mood and tension was there, so I am all about that. But I'm really excited to see where Resident Evil is actually going to end up because it's one of my favorite series ever. So I did want to run my mouth, you know, with you guys for a while. And speaking of Resident Evil, I spent a lot of time playing that new game, Umbrella Corps. It's not that great. It's okay. It's 50-50. I made a video of it on Game Ranks if you want to see it. But the reason I make these videos is because I want to see what you guys think. Am I the only person that feels this way? This is, of course, my opinion, and I want to know yours. Let's talk in the comments. Let's talk on Twitter, whatever. I want to see what you guys feel about Resident Evil. Are you excited for this? Were you bummed by the demo? Did you love the demo? If you did, that's fucking awesome. Let's talk about it. Hope you guys don't mind doing this. As much as I do reviews and stuff like that, I want to spit out more, you know, streams of consciousness about video games and stuff I feel like talking about. So sign up and get ready for that, I guess. You guys know the deal, though. I'm Jake Baldino. You can like me on Twitter, you can yell at me on Facebook, and you can subscribe because video games.